The German Ethics Council is taking an interesting stand to legalize incest. They released a statement where they say, quote, "Criminal law is not the appropriate means to preserve a social taboo. The fundamental right of adult siblings to sexual self-determination is to be weighed more heavily than the abstract idea of protection of the family." So this is really, really fascinating to me. This article was in the Daily Beast and somewhere else too. I forget where. Oh, I think the Guardian. So why are they doing this? What's the purpose? Well, it's in response to a famous case in Germany where a sister and brother had 4 children together, but here's the kicker. They didn't meet until the sister was 16 and the brother was an adult. So they were forced to live separately by the state, and then the brother also served 3 years in prison for this because they committed incest. Now, is that appropriate? Is that not appropriate? Let's come back to that in a second. Also, quote, 2 of the couple's children are disabled, and it is believed that incest carries a higher risk of resulting in children with genetic abnormalities. So again, to me, this whole discussion is super, super interesting. Now, what's my take on it? Not that anybody cares or that you should care, right? You should think about this by yourself and come to your own conclusions regardless of what I have to say about it. But I struggle with this for a while because I have to admit, like, you know how there's a lot of goofball conservatives in middle America that just have this gut reaction to gay marriage, and they're like, I wouldn't do it, so they shouldn't do it, or something, right? That's kind of the reaction I had with incest. Because I have a sister, and the thought of doing anything sexual with her is like, never in a million years. Never. And for the longest time, I kind of avoided thinking about it, didn't form a position on it, and it just kind of oscillated in the more no area. And then I sat down and thought about it, and I came up with what I call my 50-50 doctrine. Now, this doesn't seem like an issue where you can waffle and be in the middle and have a nuanced opinion, but I do, so hear me out for a second. Here's the way I look at it. So, if you really believe in the standard of allow people to do whatever they want to do as long as they're not hurting anybody else, well then, in that case, you kind of have to be okay with incest because they're doing what they want to do, and they're not hurting anybody else. It might be something that makes me have this visceral reaction of that's fucked up, like something's wrong there. But is that really relevant to what 2 other people are doing? No, not really, right? So if you really want to abide by that principle, you almost have to say that. But here's where I hedge a little bit, and here's where I say my 50-50 doctrine comes in. So would I criminally punish people for voluntarily engaging in incest? Well, no, I really do believe in that principle of do what you want as long as you're not hurting anybody else, consenting adults. So, okay, you can do it. It's weird, but you can do it, right? But where I draw the line and where I say, okay, now there's a question and now there should be some sort of action against you is if you willingly and knowingly try to reproduce, because if it is true, and there is evidence to suggest that you're significantly disadvantaging whatever kids you may have out of that situation, well then, no, something should be done, because it's not just about you and the other person engaging in incest. Now it's about you're affecting a third person, and you're affecting them in a negative way. You're saying, I'm going to make it so that you're going to live a life totally disabled because of my decisions, because I'm so fucking selfish, right? Well, that's where I step in and I say, no. See, now, should there be a law banning people from having kids, you know, brother, sister, close incest like that? I think, yeah. Because, and look, again, this all rests on the premise and the question of, is it true that you have a higher incidence of serious disability in that situation? Now, some people fire back when I say this, and they go, well, wait a second, but you wouldn't ban other people from, if they had a kid and the kid happened to be disabled, you wouldn't ban them from having a kid. And that's true. But what's the difference? The difference is, with incest, it appears as if a lot of experts say, no, but we know that you're greatly increasing the likelihood that the kids are going to be disabled, and you shouldn't do it, right? So given that we know, and you're going out of your way to reproduce when you have the information that you're going to significantly disadvantage the kid, that I think is something different. Now, what should the punishment be? I don't know. That's where I struggle with it. Do you ban it? Maybe, possibly, or what, do you fine them? How do you enforce something like this? I don't know, but that's what I call my 50-50 doctrine. Now, look, this opens me up to all different sorts of disagreements and attacks from different people, because it's like, it really is like a waffly position on an issue like this. But here's my final comment on it. I don't find either side fully convincing. So, like, the people who are, like, the conservative argument of, well, it's just wrong because it's wrong. But people said that about gay marriage. But it's not true. That doesn't mean anything. It's just you're just saying words that have no meaning attached to it. We just don't like it, so it's wrong. Well, I don't want to suck a dick, but that doesn't mean I'm going to ban sucking dicks. You know, it's one of those things where, okay, we could be really super uncomfortable with it, but that doesn't mean we ban it. So I don't find that argument, appealing, like, oh, family structure. Well, in most cases, people in the same family aren't going to fuck anyway, but if in a small percentage of cases, if they do it, should we punish them? Again, if they're not having kids and they're doing it willingly, okay, by all means, go ahead. But the other side of the conversation doesn't fully sway me either, because the super progressive position of, like, whatever, just let him do it, what the position the German Ethics Council seems to be taking here, of, like, whatever, in all cases, it's fine. Well, to me, that glosses over some very important nuance, and that nuance is, if you purposely have kids and it's incest, and you know they're going to be handicapped, or there's a high likelihood that they're going to be handicapped because of your actions, well, now you're being a dick. Now you're saying, even though I know I'm going to fully handicap this person for their entire life, whatever, I'm going to do it because I want to do it. Well, then now I can't agree with that, because that's no longer just an individual rights issue and a consenting adults issue, because you brought a third person into it. Okay, so I don't know. Look, I'm open to... that's my position as of right now, but I'm super open to hearing people give me arguments from either side, and I could be probably swayed in either direction on this issue. So hit me with your best shot, and we'll see what happens.